cancel culture. Cancel culture can affect anybody, not just celebrities. It can affect not just celebrities and high-profile people such as directors and writers and such, but it can affect anybody at all. You don't have to be a celebrity to be affected by cancel culture. It can affect literally anybody with even a very, very small following on social media platform. Anybody who has some friends and family and a life. And I'm one of those people. I was basically cancelled twice. The second one was brutal, more brutal than the first. But I'll talk more about it when I'm somewhere else. Just first time around, I had friends, I had family, I had a life. I was at university. I was enjoying it. The first year at uni, I was enjoying it. And during the second year, I don't know what happened. It's hard to explain it to this day, but I was struggling with severe anxiety, depression, feelings of isolation, the pressures of university, and things got on top of me, and found distractions in the wrong places. Made a huge mistake. And there were major consequences. Lost my place at university, lost family, lost contact with my main friends, even the friends that still, even the few remaining family and friends that still supported me, but I still wasn't able to kind of be around them in person. And I never spoke to them for a long time. Even lost my independence. I was a 28-year-old at the time, 28-year-old, fully grown adult, who had been basically living on his own, more or less, for 10 years. Lost my complete independence, had to start completely from scratch and move back in with my parents. Nothing wrong with living with your parents as an adult, by the way. If you're struggling financially or can't get your own flat, or if it's just comforting, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, because I'd lived on my own for 10 years, and was used to living an independent life since the age of 18, having to go back and do that and start from scratch, that really was a depressing blow. And grateful for them for supporting me, don't get me wrong, but when you feel like your life isn't your own anymore. It's fucking frustrating. I also had like I also had a following, a very, very small following, but a following nonetheless. I had a following on YouTube before that happened, and I was a lot more confident when it comes to speaking than I am now. Don't know how many followers I had, a couple of hundred, as I said, not many, but I was slowly but surely starting to take off. I feel like I was gaining some momentum, or at least before all of that stuff happened. And if anybody actually wants to know what actually happened, then ask me, because I'm not gonna explain it right now on a video unless anyone actually asks me about it. If anybody asks me about it, I'll explain. I like how I'm trying to talk seriously about a personal thing, and then a bike just appears from out of nowhere. Probably the man on the bike listens and hears what I'm saying. But no, anyway, that's exactly why I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm out in public, basically. So yeah, I'm out and about, with people about, so I won't talk about it in depth. But if anybody really wants to know what happened, just ask me, and I'll give you the truth. But just remember, there's two sides to every story. But yeah, more people coming, so cool. Just an uphill battle all the time. Piss off. It's a lake. Second time, yeah. Got cancelled. The reason why I got cancelled twice, because after four and a half years, I was, well, no, not even that actually. No, what am I on about? After about 2 years, 2.5 years, roughly, I was starting to. I mean, I still wasn't anywhere near where I wanted to be. Don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna sit down over here. I'm allowed to sit down. It's a bench. I'm sitting down. Yeah, don't get me wrong. After 2.5 years, I was starting to get some kind of control back. I was still, well, I say that, but well, hear me out. After about, well, after about 2.5 years, it was 2020. It was like August, September 2020. It was like during the height of the pandemic. Still stuck at home, living with my parents as an adult who lived on his own for 10 years. I was on the cusp. I was on the verge of getting my own place finally, a rented flat. So I could at least have my independence back. I was so close. I was on the cusp. but pandemic changed that. The pandemic it sort of postponed that, put everything on hold. Which was really frustrating. So I was really frustrating. I was really frustrated with that, and I was finding other ways to, again, try and distract from my depression, anxiety. Found some good ways to help. Got myself on Twitch. Joined in some like community games like Jackbox and stuff. But at that time it wasn't enough because I wasn't really fully immersed in any like online communities. I was kind of a part of some communities online, but it was the early stages of me joining some communities, which I'll talk about in a bit. But I was still lost. I was still depressed. I was still isolated. I was still fed up. So I went back to some negative distractions, and that got out of hand again. So there were consequences for that as well, big time. So I was charged with a crime, just like the first time, but because this was my second crime, it was more serious. And like I said, if you have any questions, ask me about it, and I'll answer truthfully. Um, but I had to wait for months and months to find out what the outcome of that was, because I didn't have to, because I think partly because it was a pandemic as well. Like yeah, I had to wait for what turned out to be 9, 10 months, about 10 months, almost a year basically, until I found out what the outcome of that would be. I had to wait a long time for a court date and stuff. So I was kind of in limbo at that point, but I realized what I'd done, especially after I got charged, and yeah, it hit home. And anybody who gave me a second chance after the first time, I think they just kind of washed their hands of me. Apart from my parents, who I'm very grateful for. I guess when it comes to your mum and dad, your parents, there's that kind of uh, that there's a word for it, but I can't remember what it is. Um, Unconditional love. That's it. Unconditional love, and I'm grateful for that. But anybody else apart from my parents just kind of washed their hands of me completely. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But then I tried to distract myself from that. try to distract myself from that. I knew it would be a while until I found out what the result of that would be, so I just kind of tried to put it behind me, at least for the time being. And I distracted myself from that in positive ways. In positive ways. I continued like watching Twitch and became involved in Twitch communities. It was nice to talk to people who didn't know about my past. Like all these Twitch communities that I got involved in didn't know about my past. So they just took me for who I was there and then, if that makes sense. And then I started my own Twitch channel, and over a month's got a small following from that. Which was nice. And then like not long into me starting Twitch and being involved in Twitch communities and whatnot, I met somebody. I mean, there's more to the story. I won't go into all the nooks and crannies and all the little details, but basically, yeah, I met somebody online via Twitch. Started a relationship that went on for 9 months. And then the inevitable happened. It was good. The inevitable happened, and then after 9 months, finally found out about what would happen to me regarding the crime. I had my court date and everything. The person that I was with for 9 months, she had no clue about my past at the time. Until the court date happened. People keep walking past. I can't really keep talking about it because it's really frustrating. But like I went out, told her I was going to some like work course thing when really I was going to court. And while I was away, she looked through some of my drawers and found my papers, documents regarding court and my past crimes. So she found out anyway about my past. And when I went to court, really hoping for a non-custodial. That's not what I got. I got a custodial for just over a year, and that was the end of that relationship. That was the hardest thing about going to prison. Wasn't the actual going to prison. It was the hardest part of going away was the end of a relationship. That was the hardest part of it all because I really loved her. Fuck's sake, I can't talk because people keep walking past and it's pissing me off. That's what happens when you're in public, Alex. I know. So yeah, the hardest part of going away was losing her because she was the love of my life and I fucked that up. I met her any other time, it might have been different. I think it would have been different. But yeah, lost her, lost most of my family, friends. I was away for a year. When I came out, nothing was the same. I was hopeful that I would be able to build bridges and win people back, including her, but that wasn't the case. And tried to restart my Twitch channel, at least, which had a bit of a following. But after a while, I think the Twitch gods, the Twitch managers, whoever's in charge, found out about the past as well and got banned from Twitch. So, yeah, lost everything because of cancel culture. But I think in my case, I probably deserved it. But yeah, my original point I was trying to make 20 minutes ago, that anybody can be affected by cancel culture, including me. And yeah, some people deserve it. I'm probably one of them. Some people don't deserve it. There are some people who, you know, might have made like a silly comment on Twitter or something years and years ago, and somebody from cancel culture will find it and say, "Oh, I say you're cancelled forever and ever and ever because you made one silly comment years and years ago." And you're never allowed to change. You're always the same person. And I think, yeah, in those circumstances, it's too extreme, and some people don't deserve it. In my case, yeah, I did deserve it, but I'm still trying to fight against it because I think people who have lost everything because of their actions, I like to think, as long as they're sorry about it, as long as they're remorseful about it, as long as they are taking steps to change, surely they should be allowed to make that change and move on and change their life. Because I think ultimately, if you don't allow people to try and change, if you see somebody trying to change but you're just not allowing it, if somebody's made a mistake in their life, even a big mistake, and they're trying to change and move on, but society is just not allowing it, surely there's a risk factor there. Surely if society doesn't allow somebody to change and move on from their mistakes, then, and you ostracize somebody as a monster and not allow them to make that change, then surely you're putting them at risk. Surely, if you see where the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, you don't allow somebody to change. You don't allow somebody to try and prove that they've changed and they're a different person. Then there's a risk that they'll make that same mistake again because society hasn't allowed them to prove themselves. Society hasn't allowed them. Society hasn't given them another chance. Society hasn't given them another chance to prove that they've changed. So therefore, that person is more likely to say, you know what, then society has given up on me, so fuck it, I'll give up on myself, kind of thing, and they'll make another mistake. There is that risk. I'm not saying, oh, society's fault or that person doing that bad thing. It's not that. Everyone is accountable for their own actions. At the end of the day, everybody has a part to play in something. There is a domino effect, and if somebody who has made a mistake in the past is trying to genuinely move on and wants another chance, surely they should be given another chance rather than society as a collective saying, no, fuck you, you don't deserve another chance, you're a monster. Then that is going to affect that person's psyche. That is going to affect that person's way of thinking, and they're going to say, you know what, society is going to treat me like a monster, so I'm going to act like a monster. There is that risk factor there. I'm not saying that's what's happening to me. It's not. I'm generally trying to change, and I'm generally trying to build bridges with people, and I'm trying to fight against cancel culture because I'm 35. I'm not a young spring chicken, but I'm not an old man either. I'm still youngish. I still have a life I want to live, and I'm going to fight for that life. And I'm going to fight against cancel culture, and I'm going to try and build bridges with everybody that I've lost, including the woman that I love. Most people would have moved on by now because it's been 3 years, and But when something dominates your mind every single fucking day, how can you move on? You know? But I'm gonna fight every single day to rebuild my life. And if cancel culture wanna stop me, just bring it. I am remorseful for my past. I am remorseful. I am sorry. But there's only so much hiding away and feeling like crap I can do, you know what I mean? I need to rebuild my life, and I'm gonna do it regardless of cancel culture. They've cancelled me twice. I'm gonna fight for my right to have one more crack at it. I am allowed a life. I'm allowed to fucking be alive, for fuck's sake. I am allowed to be alive. If cancel culture had their way, I'd be removed from existence. I wouldn't be alive. I'd be dead. Cancel culture would want me fucking dead. Fuck you, that's not happening. I'm alive. I'm alive despite you, and I'm gonna fucking fight to rebuild my life. You've cancelled me. I've been cancelled twice, and I deserved it, okay? But now it's time to fight back again. Now it's time to rebuild my life, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Because I have a life to live. I have a voice that needs to be heard. I have my side of the story. If anybody's interested, I will tell you that side of the story. It's not as black and white as people in society thinks it is. Okay. I'm gonna rebuild my life. I'm gonna try and rebuild bridges. And yeah, I'm not giving up. So watch out, because I'm coming. See you soon.